Hi, my name's Alexis Grey, and today I'm going to show you how I get this look that I have at the moment, which I suppose I refer to as a kind of avant-garde, vintage, e.girl, sort of bimbo kind of look. And yes, it's quite a long process, but yeah, it's sort of gothic too, sort of just general alternative, but yeah, I'm going to show you how to get that because I am going to work today. I'm going to go and get a coffee and something to eat. Okay, so I've already cleansed and brushed my teeth, and I've just swept my hair out of my face with this makeshift band that I made out of a pair of old tights, and I've cleansed, and now I'm going to put on this toner. I don't actually really know what it does, but I've had all skincare routines that I looked at for stuff just say like put a toner, and then the next thing I do is I kind of like, obviously I just rubbed it in with my hands, but I also rub it in with this rose quartz roller. I just find it really relaxing doing it this way. Yes, when I've been into makeup for a while, I started getting into skincare just because when I started doing skincare, I started noticing how much better my skin felt, how much softer. And I would do it on the eyelids too, just for good measure. And the next thing I have is this serum. It's zinc and niacinamide, and it just always does wonders for my skin. And I either use, this is the Revolution skincare one, but I either use that or the one from the Ordinary. I don't know if there's much difference. I have a feeling there's definitely one of them I prefer to the other. I have a feeling it's this one, and the Ordinary one can be a bit sticky, and so I start off just rubbing that around on my face. I don't even really know what this does again, but it just makes my skin feel so... Might have something to do with like I've heard it's like for blemish prone skin, and it just makes my skin less oily feeling because I've got oily skin but I have really dry lips, which is a really weird combination, I know, but there's that. And again, I use my rose quartz roller, which feels amazing. I really recommend getting one. You can get one from Boots or from Revolution Skincare for, forget how much it costs, but it definitely didn't cost that much. It's not like it costs like hundreds of pounds, because you might assume because it's like made with rose quartz it probably costs loads of money, but it actually really doesn't. Next thing I'm using is this eye balm. It's from Simple, like my toner, and it's called a brightening eye gel, and it's good for it helps brighten, hydrate and relieve screen stressed eyes. And yeah, I use screens a lot. I'm always on my phone, always using social media, always on my laptop, so I definitely need this. And I just take a little bit like this and I just put it under my eyes like that. Yeah, it's kind of an under eye thing. And then next up, this moisturising. I just use this one. I don't like to use too much moisturiser just because, like I said, I've got oily skin, but yeah, I use it like that. Rub it around my face like this, just to make it good. And like I also said earlier, I have disgustingly dry lips. I've always had them, especially during the winter, which it is at the moment, in cold weather, and I get a lot of icky kind of dead skin on my lips. It gets really gross, and I have dermatillomania, so I have trouble with like picking that skin, and so I use this exfoliator. It's from Barry M, and it does wonders. It's a sugar scrub, and I just rub it all over my lips, and it just removes dead skin and just makes my lips all lovely and soft. Yeah, just rubbing it all around like this. And I know I probably sound really funny here, but I hope it's making you laugh. I always want to make people laugh. Yeah, just rubbing it around, rolling it all around my lips like this. It feels really good. I feel like I'm getting it all off. And then after that, I take a little pad, one of my reusable pads, and I just remove the excess, just remove what needs to do, and there we go. I know it's made me a little red, but like that'll lessen, and obviously I'm going to cover that up with makeup. And then the next thing is sun protection. It's, yeah, sunscreen. I always take sun protection really seriously, even if it's winter. And so I just spray this. I'm starting to run out of this shit. Come on. Don't make it why is it not spraying out? What? Why is it not spraying out? I have to open this out and actually pour it on myself. And of course, I'd say the last of like skincare step I do is my lips, because obviously I exfoliated them, and I've got this this lip balm which has SPF, which is great, and I always like to wear SPF if I'm going out, because just a skin protection. I always like to wear a very high one of SPF 50 at least. I find when I'm shopping for sunscreen, I always find there's just SPF 30 everywhere. I want SPF 50, I want the really high, and so I just put this on. It's got a bit hard, strange, probably because it's not summer anymore. Rubbing it around my lips. There you go. It's slightly tinted, but obviously I'm going to be using different lip colour to that. Okay, that's me all skincared. That's the base. I'm still looking way too ordinary. So the first makeup real step I'm going to be doing is my primer. Nikki Tutorials says not to prime is a crime, and she's queen. And so I'm going to start with face primer. I just rub that all over my face. Yeah, I use a pore filling primer because, again, I've got really oily skin, and the primer that's always worked best for me is Game Set Matte by Makeup Obsession, which is an off branch of Makeup Revolution. And then I've got Lid Lock by Barry M, which I'm going to be using for my eyes. I used to use the Urban Decay Potion primer, but that one just didn't work as well, and also it was more expensive, and I was recommended the Barry M one, and so I tried the Barry M one and it was way better, and so I permanently switched to that one. Okay, so I've got these two palettes here, which I'm going to be using for my eyes. I'm going to be using the new Sickly Sweet palette by Blend Bunny Cosmetics and the Barbie palette by Glamlight. I prefer using indie makeup just because I prefer to support smaller businesses, and also because I always just find indie makeup's better quality. The eyeshadows less patchy and stuff. I don't really know why, but yeah, I've noticed that. And while I do my makeup, I'm going to talk about what shades I use, and I'm also going to be talking about just my makeup inspirations as well. I'm going to be starting with a blue in the crease. Everyone uses brown in the crease, but not everyone. And yeah, so I definitely say my style's sort of alternative, sort of inspired by the kind of typical e.girl look, but it's a kind of avant-garde take on it. I know the e.girl look is inspired by anime and emo and a bit of Disney princess, and that's all definitely inspired me, but I'd say I've also been inspired by like that, and also sort of like different areas of history, like the 1920s, like the 1920s sort of flapper look. I was all over that when 2020 came about, before the pandemic, just at the start of the year. My private account is called That Neo Flapper on Instagram, and my Twitter was that for a while before I deleted Twitter. And yeah, so I've definitely inspired by the 1920s flapper look, and like the Art Deco of the 1920s, as well as Victorian Gothic, and also the 1990s. You'll definitely see how I'm inspired by the kind of grunge style, and I'm also, as well as anime, I'm inspired by like sort of other sort of like animated kid show characters that have my kind of style, like Gems from Steven Universe, and characters like Harley Quinn and Jessica Rabbit. And I'm also inspired by kind of like, not really the golden age of Hollywood, but like certain like figures from there. Like some inspirations include Marilyn Monroe, Audrey Hepburn, Liz Taylor, and obviously people like Clara Bow. earlier on from the 1920s, and Marlene Dietrich, I used to have eyebrows like her. I used to pluck my eyebrows before it got too exhausting, and I noticed that when I didn't have makeup on, I didn't really suit it. And obviously, yeah, as well as 90s grunge-ish icons like Chloe Sevigny. Absolutely love her. As well as in general, kind of like other stuff like celebrity icons like Grace Jones, who I've actually met, and Madonna, Gwen Stefani, although less problematic, Britney Spears, Ariana Grande, yeah, and people like that. As well as other sort of like alternative fashion, like sort of like respectfully Japanese and Korean fashions. I'd love to go to Japan and Korea and then South Korea at some point. Two places I really want to visit. And yeah, I do a lot of like blue in the crease, and I'm gonna blend it just to make it look better. Got my other brush, just gonna blend. Yeah, I started doing makeup. I suppose I first really got interested in makeup when I was about 5 or 6, and I was around at my cousin's house, and she just decided she wanted to give me a makeover, and she put makeup on me. She did my hair in a way I didn't usually have it, and she put me in this sparkly dress. And actually, it was before that. I had a friend round, and I wanted to know why her mum's lips were so red, and she showed me her lipstick, and I was absolutely fascinated by it. And yeah, and after my cousin did my makeup, my mum, sorry, I've lost my other brush that I was using. My mum bought me some like kiddie makeup. Where's it gone? It's just disappeared. And I used to like playing with my kiddie makeup. My mum was really not into makeup. She was one of these natural people that like to be all natural, which I'm not into at all. And but even so, much later, like later into like my pre-teens, I used to like buying like actual like drugstore makeup, and I used to like doing stuff like this. I got this book and I used to play with it using this book that showed me how to do different looks, and I even put makeup on my dad once while he was asleep, and yeah, just as a kind of prank. And my mum found it really funny, and like it was really funny seeing him like asleep there, kind of like and he had like bright red lipstick on. Yeah, that was hilarious. Good times. And yeah, what I've also done is like black on the outer corner. I just like to darken that area just because it looks good. And then sort of like over the years, I did stop wearing makeup for a while, but then in sort of my late teens, I started wearing it again and doing like more interesting things with it. And yeah, I started sort of like developing my style more and not sort of like just conforming to what society wanted. And yeah, I started later. Much later, I really got into sort of Instagram looks and started doing a different look every day, and started getting into like different palettes, and like started following all these makeup pages on Instagram, and just like blushing this bit. I got this technique from Nikki Tutorials, and I started watching videos by YouTube makeup artists like Nikki Tutorials and Michelle Phan, which taught me a lot about the makeup stuff that I'm doing, like contouring, as you're going to see later. And what I now do is I go over it with a sort of like shimmery shade. So I'm going to start off with a sort of slightly darker shimmery blue, and then I'm going to go in with a lighter shimmery blue, and the colour in the Blend Bunny Cosmetics palette is called Crying Sparkles, and that is just goals for me. Like, I need to be able to cry sparkles. Just put it over. I'm probably going to need more of a packing brush just to put it over like this. Yeah. And then, there you go. You can probably see it's more sparkly now. It's a bit more shimmery. And then I'll put some sort of shimmery purple. I just like to take similar shades and just like blend them together to get that kind of multifaceted look. And I put purple in the sort of socket area, just going over the blue a bit. Yeah, and there we go. Yes, I later sort of like my makeup just became more and more avant-garde and more out there. I was influenced by Ariana Grande's Sweetener album. I love the kind of pastel feel of that album. It was really pretty. And then I sort of like started seeing the quote-unquote e-girl look, and I got influenced by that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put this little bit of peach just on the inner corner, because it's a smoky pastel look. You have to include a peach shade. And now we're going to get on with our cut crease. Okay, so I've just got some concealer here, and I'm running out of this concealer. I'm going to need to get some more soon, like with my sunscreen. And so just it kind of gets on that bit, so when it's running low, I always like to take it off that bit, and I'm just going to cut the crease like this. Get a good amount on. Yes, I discovered this technique a few years ago, and I was terrified to do it for ages, but then I did it and I found I really liked the results, so now I do cut creases all the time. Just putting it over like this. And before I actually put any shadow on that area, I like to sort of frame the cut crease. I'll show you how I do that in just a second. I tend to take a darker purple, a matte and a bit of shimmer, and then I kind of like outline the crease with the cut crease with that, just because in my opinion it just looks really good. And then I put a bit of that in the outer corner just to kind of like complement where I darkened it, because do that on the other side too. I was also learned a lot about makeup from drag queens. I watched a video about contouring from a drag queen once, and yeah, it was really cool. And for ages I was scared to contour because I worried the lines would look really obvious, but now I can't do makeup without it. And I also love highlighter. I'm going to see the highlighter I do later. And yeah, now what I do is I now put pink on the lid like this. My favourite colours are pink, blue and purple, so I love to incorporate that into my makeup. I can't be done with all these browns and beiges and what's fashionable these days. Yes, and except I do like doing a sort of 90s look sometimes, but I like using more colours rather than just using brown. Just like there's all these colours in the world, why does everyone just want to put on brown makeup? I don't get it. And then I'm just going to complement that with a paler colour, paler pink, which is called Lollipops. And then we're going to look for a pale peach shade, which we're just going to put and mix it with a bit of this pale yellow goldish shade and put that to make a kind of champagne colour. I'm just going to put that on the inner corner just to make it sparkly and pretty. And then look for a shimmer pink. We're probably just going to use this shade. This is just kind of a shimmery purpley pink. I'm just going to put that all on the lid over the matte pink like this. Putting it on the lid like this. And yes, I don't get that much negative attention for my makeup. I've heard of a lot of people who do, unfortunately, but I get a lot of random just compliments in the street telling me how awesome I look, and I love that. And One time when I was working in a shop, I did get told by this guy that I looked proper scary. That was really funny. I'm actually going to use some of my highlighter for the brow bone, because I just put some, I've got to put a bit of like shimmer on like the inner brow bone area. I like to put some like white on the brow bone, and I can't find any white colours in there. Yeah, someone told me that I looked proper scary once. That was really funny, because I wanted to then tell him he looked proper basic, because he really did. But then later that day, I got this little girl say to me, "You look like Harley Quinn." It was really cute, because she is an inspiration of mine. Another inspiration of mine is definitely masquerade ball aesthetic and sort of carnival aesthetic. So if anyone wants to tell me that I look like a clown, well, I am influenced by sort of circus carnival aesthetic. So that could actually be a compliment for me. And some people have clown fetishes. Okay, now we're going to go on to the face. I have just gone into the kitchen and wet my beauty blender because it needs to be wet. This here is the only foundation that I ever use. It's Conceal and Define by Makeup Revolution. I actually was in Boots in Brighton a few weeks ago, and I went around trying out the samples of the high-end foundations, and I'd definitely say Makeup Revolution is just as good as any of these. It's super full coverage and super light matte, and therefore, since I like a bit of shimmer, I'll show you what else I do. I also use this liquid highlighter. It is, again, from Makeup Revolution. It was part of the Halloween collection view not long ago, and it's in the shape of a skull. I love it. I took a picture once being like, "Alas, poor Yorick," quoting Hamlet, using the skull. I don't know the actual line. "Alas, poor Yorick, for I did know him." That's all I really know. I don't even really know who Yorick is. He's a clown or something, or how he died. And yeah, it's a liquid highlighter. As you can see, I am highlighter obsessed. I use a lot of highlighter. Since I've discovered it, I've just loved using highlighter. It just adds so much beauty to your face and stuff. And so what I do is I take the foundation and I just dot it around my face, just like this, making sure it's nice and even. And a bit on the nose, boop, 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 boop. And then I will take the liquid highlighter, squeeze some of it out. It's kind of a pipette type situation, as you can see. And then I dot the liquid highlighter around with the foundation. Yes, people will say, "Oh, you use way too much highlighter," but I don't care. I use as much foundation as I like, and those people can... Oh, fuck off! Okay, once my face is all dotted around, I'm just going to blend it in with my blender, and it gives me what I call moonlight skin, which is just really bright, sort of shimmery skin, which I just love having. Yeah, I like using a matte foundation because it's good for my oily skin, but I don't like to look that matte. Makes my skin look really dewy and shiny and, like I said, like moonlight, shimmery, and I love looking shimmery. Just bounce my beauty blender around like that. Yeah, bouncing it around, avoiding my eyes. I used to be terrified to apply foundation after eyeshadow. I used to never do that, and I didn't get why everyone did it. But I've recently found it can sort of like really sculpt out your eye shape, especially if you use concealer as well. My concealer, which I'm really running out of, and what I do is I do like this, the concealer. I got this idea from Hayley Jean ASMR, who's a makeup YouTuber, and she got the idea from TikTok. I don't know which TikToker, but yeah, and I'm going to dig so much of it out because It's really starting to run dry. And I do a fish face like this. I put some along the jawbone because I feel like I just like to bring out my cheekbones. Look at this. And there we go. That's not, you can't really see concealer at the moment just because there's not enough of it on, because you know, I need to buy some more of this concealer. And then I get out my liquid highlighter again and dot it just in the areas where I put the concealer, because I don't want that to go too matte. And I know people are going to say, oh, if you're making yourself shimmery, you'll look sweaty. Again, like, I'm not trying to, it doesn't make me look sweaty, it makes me look shimmery and ethereal and shiny and pretty. And then the next thing I do is contour. This is the NYX Wonder Stick. It's contour and highlight on either side, but I don't really use the highlight so much because it's a bit too beige, whereas I like to use white highlight or like purple. And I just do the contour just under the cheekbones, the jawline, and the nose. One of my greatest insecurities is I have like literally no nose bridge and really like wide set, very round eyes, and in my opinion it just makes me look really babyish, so I like to correct it with contour and just kind of sharpen my features, and I can make it look like I've had a nose job when I haven't. I then take this brush and I just, because obviously I'm not just going to do this, I just blend out contour. Blend it out under the jaw. Like to give myself a nice sharp jawline. Like this. I'll also go in with my beauty blender in a second, but I just kind of stab myself with it with cheekbones because it just helps blend it in. Boop, boop, boop. Really stabbing myself. Stabby, stabby, stabby. And then, like I said I was going to do, I just go in with my beauty blender, just blend that even further. Especially under the jawline, because contour can definitely look weird under the jawline if it's not blended well enough. I recently saw in one of my TikToks, I actually posted something like, don't mention my unblended contour, that's not the focus of the video, but yeah, it can look really weird, but I didn't want it to be the focus of the video, just make sure it's blended even more. And there's my nose. I take a smaller brush and I just sort of like quite viciously rub it up and down like that, so it helps to blend it in like that. I just feel like this just makes my nose look really cool. Sometimes I accidentally, because I have to put on more contour, I accidentally kind of blends it away, so I'm probably going to do a bit more contour because I'm not quite satisfied it's kind of blended in too much. Oops. I like kind of like doing that, which I've started doing recently, but I forgot to do. So maybe I blended it a bit too viciously. Just blend it a bit gentler, like that. And then I'm going to take my beauty blender and just boop, 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 like that. Keep doing it on the cheekbones. Always worried about it looking too streaky. And then next up is blush. I use this to sculpt up my face too. I've got 3 shades and I kind of like to combine them. So I just go kind of like this, a bit like that. I like a bit more purple because I like it to be nice and cool tones. And I just start off by just going . I started doing more blush because of the e.girl style. Just looked really cool, and also I use it to kind of sculpt up my cheekbones. And also I could say the e.girl style, I could say, is kind of similar to the 1920s style of blush, which I also love. It's going to be a surprise. Surprise! because you can't see it behind the palette. So I would not usually use blush palettes, but this is a composite one from Lethal Cosmetics, and I wanted 3 of these blushes, and because they looked really good together, so I just got them as a palette. So I'm just going to blend it in just so it doesn't look like I've just splodged it on. Oh, this funny shape. Let's make it a bit more. Why is it changing in the light? God, physics is weird. I'll just blend it a bit more like this. Yes. So, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I've actually met one of my inspirations. I've met Grace Jones. That was really cool. I would love to meet Taika Waititi one day because I just love that guy. He's so funny, he's a genius, and he is so gorgeous. I'd love to be married to him, but unfortunately he's already married. And then another e.girl thing, I put the blush on the nose, pack it under the nose, and I put a bit more purple so it's a little more kind of cool toned. I like to look nice and cool toned. I know warm tones is really in at the moment, but I like to look nice and cool toned and kind of look like a cartoon character. I like this, it kind of makes me look a bit more kind of animated, but also kind of vintage. This heavy blush makes me look animated, but also kind of like vintage, which I love. I'm not into the modern look. And there we go. And then next up is powder. I'm just going to pour some of it into the lid because I have one of these. It's the Makeup Revolution coconut powder. And this may seem weird as I'm going on about not wanting to look matte, but it really helps set it in place. And obviously I apply more highlighter after this. And it helps to sculpt it out too and kind of like make me look brighter. Everything's about sort of sculpting and shaping my face for me. I put some under the eyes just to stop the under eye concealer and stuff from creasing, and along the nose bridge just to kind of make it pop up above here, and a bit on the jaw just to kind of a little bit on the chin, just to kind of bake it in like that. And while I'm doing that, we're going to do my eyeliner. Okay, so I said eyeliner, but we're going to do my brows first, and brush away. I usually use a brow pencil, but I don't have one at the moment, so we're just going to use eyeshadow, and I'm just going to just brush out my brows. Luckily I have this brush which has a spoolie on it, so brush out my brows like this, and then we're going to see which colour shall I use. Oh, we've got a few options. I'm going to go into this kind of brown shade, but I'm also going to use the black. So I just fill in the brow like this. I like to make them look nice and defined and kind of sharp and kind of like I mean business. I used to, a few years ago, I had really skinny brows, like kind of 1920s, 1930s style. Kind of like Marlene Dietrich was a inspiration for that, but I just started to notice I really didn't suit it when I wasn't wearing makeup, and obviously I don't want to wear makeup all the time. Well, I kind of do, but sometimes when my mental health is really bad, I can't be bothered to sort of apply it, and when I've got nowhere to go, or if I sort of like don't have enough time, and it just made me kind of look kind of weird, like when I had no eyebrows, but I had really like fine eyebrows, so I just grew my eyebrows out again. Then I'm going to use this darker brown, which is called Melancholy. That's kind of fitting for me since I often get sad, but makeup makes me happy. And I'm going to brush it all in like that. There we go. That's my brows. Okay, so next up is my eyeliner. First, I apply pencil eyeliner. That, unfortunately, I'm finding it hard. I couldn't find any of this Juvia's Place in Superdrug the other day, so I'm going to have to find out another way of getting it. I just apply it to the waterline, because I kind of like to make my eyes look sort of darker and more interesting. I like to make myself look less bug-eyed and sort of like, yeah, so I apply a bit underneath. I used to know you could apply them underneath, but on top it seemed kind of scary, because like, I was like, how the hell do you get like an eyeliner in that much? And so I was kind of scared to do it for ages, but now I'm really into it, and it really does help kind of darken the upper lash line. And then now we have my gel eyeliner, which is blue, and I take this brush and I do a winged eyeliner like this. I like to do it nice and thick so that my eyelashes, my false eyelashes, which you'll see me apply in a bit, don't cover it up. So back to Taika Waititi. Yes, I love him so much. I'd love to meet him one day, and I have a picture of him on my phone as Edward Teach from Our Flag Means Death, which I keep mentioning. Although you're going to find this really weird, but I still haven't seen all of any of his films. Except for, obviously, he worked on the series Our Flag Means Death, and I've seen all of that. And I really want to see his film Jojo Rabbit. That looks really good. It looks really funny and really kind of sad and really interesting. And I also want to see the film Boy. That looks really cool too. And also his next film, his new film, Next Goal Wins. I really want to see that. I'm really not into football. I'm really not into sports, but I'm into Taika, and so I want to see that film. Anyway, so I like doing quite a big sort of cat eye, and I like it to kind of go like that. And for some reason I just like doing it blue. And then I might do something I've not done before, add a bit of blue to my eyebrows, just to make it all more interesting. There we go. It's my eyeliner. By now my powder would have finished baking, so I'm just going to dust the excess of it off like this with a fan brush, which I just feel like helps me get more into the nitty-gritty little crevices so I don't end up disturbing the rest of my makeup. And then next up is bronzer. I got this one as a sort of free gift at Superdrug once because it was on offer, but I wasn't picking my nose then, just itching. But it's kind of warmer than I would usually like a bronzer to be. I am a cool toned person, and so I'd want a cooler toned bronzer that just kind of sculpt my face a bit and just sort of complement it a bit. I don't apply very much. I apply it super light hand. I'm not one of these like people that just packs on the bronzer because they want to look like they've just come home from Ibiza. Yeah, I'm not really into that. Next thing I am going to absolutely lather on though, because that is highlighter. This is a different highlighter than I was using before. It's a powder rather than a liquid highlighter. I like to use the liquid highlighter with the foundation and the powder highlighter on top. It's really lovely and shimmery, and I'm going to start by applying it on the nose, kind of like that, just on the bridge of the nose, just to give myself a nose bridge, because like I said, I have no nose bridge, and I'm applying it on sort of the brow bone area. Oh yeah, this is the one I applied for my brow bone when I didn't have any pale white eyeshadow, because I'd usually use that if one of them's available. I just put a little bit on my chin, and then a bit under here just to make it pop, kind of like, because I really like to emphasize my cheekbones. And talking of which, I will then put it along my cheekbones in the usual area. I don't want to sort of like dim out my blush though, so I'll just do that. And now here's a sort of tricky part. I'm going to be doing lashes, and usually it's trickier than it's going to be today actually, because usually I only have one hand to apply them, but since I've, oops, that's way too much glue. Since I've got my mirror, I don't have to have like one hand doing the lash and one hand holding the mirror. Start off by just putting the glue on. This glue kind of starts working rather far, sort of like, it doesn't like need me to sort of like leave it for a few seconds. It's a glue, lash glue from Superdrug, because I know sometimes you have to wait for it to get sticky, but this one tends to work right away, so I like to leave it a little bit just to be safe. I always find this so fiddly. I was saying that I would find it easier because I've got the camera, but is it really easier? Because I can't see as near, and so I just kind of push them down to make them stick further, like that, so it's pointing down too much. Oh, I'm making such a pig's ear of this. I'm not. I find putting lashes on really difficult. There we go, that's as best as. Still, they always feel like they're pointing down rather than up too much. Let's try on the other side. Oh my god, they always end up skew with. Or are they? I always end up with a wonky lash. Whatever I do, I end up with a wonky lash. It's so annoying. Some people probably find the word wonky really funny. British for crooked. And I know a lot of my American viewers and friends find British words funny, and just like, they're just so normal to me, like, but everyone just bursts out laughing whenever they hear them. So there we go, that's my lashes. I'm still like, that's in the wrong place, but I'll have to make do. This still looks really kind of weird and stuff like that. I'm probably going to try and push it up a bit. Like that. There you go, I repositioned my lash just because I'm a massive perfectionist, so I need everything to be just so. And I'm just going to get out my lip products now because we're going to do my lips. Okay, so I've got my lip liner here. I'm doing what I call my iridescent kind of purple-ish lip. What I like to do other than the Cupid's bow is do the outside of my lips slightly higher, which is a technique that I heard from Marilyn, Monroe's makeup artist, because I find it weird that the outside of my top lip's much thinner than sort of like my bottom lip, and I like to have a bigger top lip, and like I don't like lots of emphasis on the bottom lip. Right, and now I'm going to blend it with my lip brush like this. Blending like this. My talking cuddly sounds really funny because I'm having to keep my mouth still as I hope it's making you laugh. And there we go. And then one lipstick I love that I'm going to be using. This is Rebel by MAC, and it's a really lovely kind of like plum shade. It's one of my favourites, and putting it on the outside like that, I never like to use, I very rarely like to use just one lipstick. I like to use multiple lipsticks to make a kind of multifaceted look. That's another technique I got from Marilyn Monroe's makeup artist. I'm also using Violetta, which is another favourite of mine from MAC. Taking a load of it and just putting it slightly further along. Actually, I'm going to use the bullet, like that, so it's just like a lighter shade, slightly further along, or slightly more kind of purple. And then, oopsie, times when you're just like, just use both hands. And then next up we're going to use this one, which is called Rave Chic. Going to use it on like the main inside, but there, like that. And then we're going to take my lip brush again. I've got this one. This is Cosmic by Ciate London, and we're just going to take a bit of it and put it on the inside, because this one really makes it pop like that. And I really love purple lipstick and like plum and berry lipstick. It just makes me happy and always needs to be shimmery. I like wearing red lipstick too, because it would have pissed off my mum, because she also always said that red lipstick looked cheap and tarty, and so I love doing things that would have pissed off my mum if she was alive. And okay, so usually I love using sort of like lilac-ish eyeshadow lip gloss, but I've recently got this blue and this pink one from Jolie Beauty, and so I'm going to use a combination of them. I'm going to actually like put it on my finger, not something I usually do, but here we go. Gonna put some of the blue on my finger and some of the pinky one. Such pretty colours. I'd only used Jolie Beauty eyeshadow palettes before. I have all their Halloween releases, like I've got the Sorceress, the Ethereality, the Siren, and the new one, the Carnival one, which I used to do my Halloween look this year because I did a kind of carnival themed look. And I put this gloss on. I start in the centre, but then I put it a bit further out. And I like to get, I'm probably going to put a bit more of the blue, because just I really like blue lip gloss. Go, and I love a kind of like slightly iridescence. And then one thing that I cannot forget, which I have been almost forgetting a lot recently, is something really interesting that I do with my eyeliner, which I know that I've got a lot of compliments for. My eyeliner, my pot of gel eyeliner, and my brush, I take a bit and I do a little heart shape on each cheek. Oh, I'm not going to use my camera, I'm just going to use a mirror for this, because using my camera was a bad idea because it's further away. There we go. And then now my lash glue has dried. My lashes need some mascara, I'm going to put on here. To do my bottom lashes, I put mascara on them, and then I use a pair of tweezers to just sort of like plump them together into like little doll lashes, which I've seen a lot of e-girls doing. Just plump them together like that. I don't really do it very well. And then I put them on the, then I put mascara on the top lashes to really poof them up and make them look awesome. There we go. Let's make my eyes fly like a butterfly. Oh no, one of them hasn't stuck down well enough, so when I've finished doing my mascara, I'm going to have to go off camera and add a bit more lash glue. And now I'm going to just spray myself with my setting spray. what I like to do is spray it on from above and just let it float down onto me, like this. And now that that's the finished look for my makeup, I'm now going to do my hair. Okay, so just like with my skin, I have disgustingly oily hair, and I washed it yesterday, but it gets oily so fast. So what I do is I use dry shampoo almost every day. So I put a bit on and then just start brushing it quite sort of like viciously, like that. And I especially like to do it around kind of the ear area, because that's when it gets most oily, and that's where it's most annoying to be oily. But I go through my whole hair like this, because I don't want there to be any icky oil. What I hate about having oily hair is, like, I like my hair to be all kind of like fluffy, but like when it's oily it just sort of slicks it down and makes it all kind of like pomaded, which I'm really not into. So I just find it really gross, and I like having fluffy hair, and like it just seems really kind of icky and untidy when it's like that. So that's what the reason for the dry shampoo. And I do a sort of side parting, but like I sort of like the kind of like what I've recently been into is the sort of 90s style, when it's kind of a side parting but kind of not. You have to brush it so much like that, just to get all the dry shampoo out, get all the icky oil out, because we don't want any icky oil, do we? Yes, make it all lovely and fluffy. Kind of been into the 90s kind of fluffy hair, and like the sort of half parting, half not, sort of messy parting. And then I just fluff up my hair like this to make it look all awesome. I used to hate having such thick hair when I was younger, and still sometimes find the fact that it's so hard to control difficult, but I like the thickness now, and I like to make it all floofy and fluffy, and I love how my hair feels when I've just washed it. It feels really soft and lovely. So there we go, that is my finished look for the day. It's quite dramatic, quite like intense, but I love it. Oh yes, another thing that I'm going to do is put on some perfume. This is Britney Spears Fantasy, which I love. I really want to get the dark midnight one again. I used to have that, but I don't anymore, but I want to get it again. Okay, I'm just outside waiting for my ride. Yes, I know that rhymes. I am a poet and I know it. Okay, so I've arrived in Costa and I'm just having something to eat. All my lipstick crept into my creases. I'm just having something to eat, and I've got my coffee luckily in the takeaway cup, so when I can run for the train. So yeah. Okay, well, I'm ready for my day now. I'm going to go and get the train. I've got my coffee and I'm going to go to work. Okay, I hope you like this look, and yeah, see you.